What's going on, friends? Leo here. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into it. I just want to warn everybody there has been a scammer that is constantly posting links about some trading bot or program or something or another on every one of my videos. I'm doing my best to delete them all, but if you're listening to this, just know that I'm assuming it's a scam because every time he posts a comment, the bot will immediately post like five replies of fake users. But I mean, within like a minute of the original comment being posted. Now, I mean, that's suspicious because I don't have very many followers and I don't get that many uh, comments on my videos, let alone every single one of their comments. There's five fake accounts commenting about, oh, great, I've made so much money on this trading bot thing or whatever the heck it is that they're trying to sell. So just be aware of that, doing my best to keep up with it, block them, and uh, whatnot. Um, also, I'm going to be out of town, so there's going to be about a 2.5 week period that you probably won't see any videos from me. I'm going on vacation to Alaska, doing a fly fishing trip up there, so that should be fun. And then we'll be back somewhere. I want to say it's October 13th. I'd have to double check the dates, but somewhere around there, I'd be back in town and getting back to it with the charts. So it's going to go ahead and dig in here and kind of see where we are as far as Ethereum. Now it looks like we might actually be getting our fills here. A couple of videos back, I'd been talking about the possibility of us coming down lower and getting some fills. Um, I wasn't thinking that we were going to do that. I was thinking that, once we got back above that 55 EMA, I was thinking that we were going to consolidate, and we still could. This area here could still hold, and we just range within here and consolidate. But if we do come down, this is the area that I'd be expecting to see some resistance. And just backing up here to the overall count, it's a little bit hard to see. Maybe I'll change that to a blue. Maybe you can see that a little better. But I think that we have a one wave and then another one wave. So we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the third. Notice that this fourth wave here is very characteristic of a fourth, kind of slow, sideways, choppy action. And then same with this, kind of has that triangular shape. And then we get the lift off for the fifth wave, which would make up, oh, what the heck did it? There it is. Then it would make up a completed impulse wave up. And now we are correcting. There's no doubt in my mind, uh, you'd be a fool if you didn't think that this was impulsive. I mean, that's just a straight rip down. This structure here looks very corrective to me. And what I mean by that is a corrective structure is going to be, it's not going to be very impulsive. It's going to be very choppy, slow consolidation. Prices are trying to figure out where the support and resistance is and where we're going next. So what happened was they came up here and they hit the 50 and then it's selling off. So our next area of support is going to be around the overall 50. So that's right here. The red line that's moving is the 50% retracement. And then you have your 618 and your 65. And so we also have the 200 EMA on the daily. I'd be very, very surprised and even worried if that were to break. So there's a lot of confluence here for this to be where we're headed. Go ahead and zoom in here a bit, get a better view. And now we have our Andrews median line. There's an 80% chance that price will return to the median line. We have it intersecting the 50. That's a great spot. And all the median line is that you take the most significant pivots and then it projects it out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the worst case scenario, which I don't think this is all that likely, but it's worth mentioning. So we have the golden cross coming up. I talked about this in a couple of videos back. It's always hard to kind of guesstimate these things, but I would estimate this week we should cross. So unless there's some black swan event where prices dump down to like 180, I don't anticipate us breaking worst case. Where I mean, we're looking at what is that, 260 for Ethereum? Worst case. Most realistic, I think, we'll hold this region between 275 or 276 to that 300 price range. And this red dotted line is just going to be your structural support. As you can see here, I think that fits very nicely. And something to mention about structural support, whenever you're looking at a range, so what I mean by that is, so like right here, this is a range, and this is in price action theory. This is separate from Elliott wave, but if you look at that range there, you have your candle body closes. You can see right there. And then if I take another line, draw it right there, that's essentially a range. You're looking at the candle body closes on either side. And what happens inside of a range, and you can see, it helps to see this on the volume profile. You see it very well. But let's say that price is approaching this red line, right? So if you come over here to this range, see how the price was accepted within this range very nicely. What that tells me is that price, it's not necessarily going to stop at the highs. It could, but not necessarily. So what you can see happen is price come down, it peg there and then go off, right? But what can also happen is that you trade within the range because that's where price is accepted. And so where it's not accepted is where you would find the most amount of resistance. And so that's going to be here, where you see right here where they stopped, and then there really wasn't much price acceptance. Same for here. There wasn't really a whole lot of acceptance up here. And then here again, it stopped it. So that's really what I'm looking at. Looks like we've just gone into that little range of, or prior range rather, of price acceptance. And then price isn't really accepted once you get past that. So it would move quickly to find some sort of acceptance. And so this is actually a perfect example here. So held as resistance, didn't hold as resistance. And so what it tried to do is it pushed itself to the next area of price structure, which was right here. Probably right there. And what I'm looking for is where the most amount of candle body closes are stopping. Right there, looks really good. And look at that. I wasn't even looking over to my right. I was looking over here and see exactly where it stopped. And so that's the power of price action trading. In my opinion, it's the purest form of trading there is, because there's none of this other stuff. It's just price action. You know, price action and some trend lines is really all you need. And then maybe some algos and geometry things, you know, kind of help you organize the price action. But all these different RSIs, oscillators, Yabahui, Shabadui, all this other crap that people come up with, it's just useless. They're lagging indicators that it's just junk. You're not going to get anywhere. You know, if you think about it, 90% of traders are not profitable. And what do 90% of traders do? They go and they look at all these indicators like, oh, RSI divergence, this oscillator, that oscillator, this Bollinger Band and Keltner channels and this and that, and they're all not profitable. Why? Because they're all looking at the same stuff and they don't know how to read a chart. If you want to be a profitable day trader or just in long-term investor, you have to read a chart. You can't do that. You can't read the price action. You're just not going to be profitable. So anyway, so hopefully you get the idea of what I'm looking at there and why I believe that this is going to be a very strong support. Once again, we have I'm just going to clean this up real quick. Zoom in a bit. Get off the 1 week, back to the 1 day. So just to kind of summarize, we have the red dotted line, which represents the structural support. We have the 50. We have the median line where we're expecting prices to come back to. We have the 200 EMA on the daily. And honestly, I'm surprised if we get back down to the 200 EMA, because if we come back to here, once we got through it, the last bull run, we really didn't come back to touch it. And we came back once, twice, and that was it over the course of the entire bull run. So I'm a little bit surprised that we're even attempting to come back down to it. if we break through it, that's gonna be worrisome. If we get a full candle body close on the 1 day below the 200 EMA, that's gonna have me worried. And what I mean by that is, um, we could have something like this, for example. Ignore the color of the rectangle I'm making. Um, that I wouldn't consider a full body close. I would want to see it. I would want to see. All right, let me make that red. That's good enough. You get the point. So I would want to see a candle break through it, right? And then I would want to see a candle open, move down, and close below the 200 EMA before I start to get worried and reevaluate anything as to whether we're in a bull market. Um, so that's pretty much where we are. I have some orders down here waiting to get filled. If we come down here and hit them, great. If we don't, that's okay too. I'm only looking to add to long-term investment type positions here. Not really looking to day trade this. Most of my day trading happens in the futures markets. Um, but yeah, I think that pretty much summarizes what's going to happen, and just kind of give you an idea of what uh, could happen going forward after that. Is if we look out at the parabolic trend lines, um, and these are kind of difficult to do because this is just you really only have one cycle here on Ethereum, just a 1-2 basically. But you kind of get the idea that I'm looking at these little clusters of support, this little dip, this little flash crash dip down thing. I'm not too concerned with. Um, but this fits nicely. This little correction we go into, we're coming back down. We're still right within that parabolic trend line, and we can just kind of chop around, meander our way on up. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'm at 410 subscribers, so that's exciting. If y'all could help me out and subscribe so I can get to that 500 mark, it would mean a lot. Helps me to stay motivated to keep doing these market analysis for y'all. Anyway, um, I will be back October 13th, I believe it is. So in the meantime, y'all take care and yeah.